When I started this channel more than 4 years ago, the biggest challenge developers were facing was keeping up with JavaScript frameworks. I know, it is mind-blowing to think that the biggest issue we had back in 2020 was JavaScript fatigue. And what's even crazier is that I'm sure we are all missing those simpler times now, because let's face it, what we are going through at the moment is much more frustrating. If 5 years ago I couldn't keep up with JS frameworks, these days I can barely keep up with all these new fancy programming styles. I was just getting comfortable with the idea of vibe coding and prompt engineering, but then I found out that people are rebranding Waterfall as spec-driven development and selling it as a far superior vibe coding alternative. And I was almost ready to accept it, but then I found out that the creator of Cloud Code and senior Anthropic vibe coder says that prompting is completely deprecated now. Apparently, the new fad in the industry is writing loops, and honestly, at this point, I'm too tired to figure out what that even means.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
I believe most software professionals are facing a similar identity crisis, so in this Monday morning review, we'll look at the software developer role in 2026. It's only fair we start with the junior developer role, also known as the passenger pigeon of the industry. For those unfamiliar with them, passenger pigeons once numbered in the billions in North America, then disappeared completely by 1914 after mass hunting and habitat loss. And these days, you are more likely to find one of these birds flying around than a junior developer job posting. The junior developer was, until very recently, the natural entry point into this profession. The way it worked was you'd hire someone inexperienced but willing to learn, and then, after thousands of long, exhausting code review sessions, numerous build failures, and a few horrifying pull requests that made senior developers stare silently into their monitors, questioning the meaning of life, that person slowly became useful. That was a process. We trusted it, and it worked flawlessly for the past 30 years. But somewhere between the layoffs, the interest rates, and the AI demos, the industry decided that learning is too expensive. After all, nobody needs skilled developers capable of critical thinking. When intelligence is quickly becoming a commodity, you can buy per token.
We see a future where intelligence is a utility, like electricity or water, and people buy it from us.
Many important figures in the industry are pointing out that breaking the talent pipeline will lead to a much bigger problem later. But the adults in the room are acting like small children with only one goal in mind: reaching the mythical 10x productivity goal. The sad truth for junior developers in 2026 is that their only chance to land a real job is to ignore trivial things like learning to code or solving problems and focus on leveraging whatever AI agent workflow Anthropic is pushing at the moment. And then, if they are lucky, they'll find a company greedy enough who's willing to optimize costs, which usually translates into replacing senior experienced devs with junior inexperienced devs assisted by Claude or Codex. As a result, on my screw scale, junior devs get a score of 20 out of 10. Next on our list is the security engineer who, at this point, wants to see the entire world burn. And who can blame him, since we are living in the era when hackers can simply trick an AI agent to hand over Instagram accounts. Just a few days ago, attackers reportedly abused Meta's AI-powered support chatbot by convincing it to link targeted Instagram accounts to attacker-controlled email addresses. From there, they could simply trigger password resets and take over accounts, including high-profile accounts like Sephora, the old Obama White House account, and the US Space Force official. So when you trained your whole life to understand protocols, low-level networking, memory safety, cryptography, threat modeling, privilege escalation, identity systems, sandboxing, supply chain attacks, and many more, just for your job to be made entirely irrelevant by a chatbot that leaks all private data to the public, you can understand why security people are not exactly optimistic about the future. So, on our screw scale, security engineers get a score of who cares anymore, because let's face it, security only slows you down when chasing the much desired 10x productivity. Next on the list are DevOps engineers, which honestly can still have a little hope. After all this new generated slop has to run somewhere, and, trust me, there is a lot of slop generated at the moment. A few months ago, GitHub released some mind-blowing statistics. While there were 1 billion commits in 2025, they are now on track to surpass 14 billion commits by the end of the year. I'm sure all this code is powering some pretty useful, original, and all-around amazing ideas, and DevOps engineers are now the lucky people responsible for deploying, scaling, monitoring, rolling back, containerizing, load balancing, and pretending to understand whatever 10 AI agents just generated in the last sprint. DevOps engineers are lucky because when something is broken at their level, things crash fast and very publicly. So if you want to delegate their work to AI, you could end up with incidents like Pocket OS, where a cursor agent powered by Claude reportedly deleted a production database and its backups in 9 seconds after deciding that the best way to fix a staging credentials issue was to remove a railway volume. So on our infamous screw scale, operations engineers get a score of 6 to 12 months, which is the exact amount of time until an AI exec publicly states that this job is obsolete as well. Now, when it comes to quality assurance, things are starting to get ridiculous. A few days ago, I was reading a Reddit post pointing out that software products seem to be now more broken than ever. The problems ranging from Cloudflare login problems to weird GitHub UI issues or broken YouTube comments are actually too many to mention in this video. Software in 2026 is more powerful than ever, it ships way faster, it is tailored to all your needs, and it will fix all your problems as long as it is not crashing. Obviously, AI is the main suspect, but the real problem is probably more boring and much worse. Over the past year, companies have reduced headcount while generating more code and shipping more features than ever, leaving fewer people with less time to understand what is actually going into production. LLM coding agents just gave management a way to generate it at enterprise scale. So naturally, quality assurance is now treated less like a serious engineering discipline and more like an optional vibes check before production. And this puts QA engineers at score 42 on the screw scale. If you don't know it already, 42 is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, which brings us to my awesome recommendation of the day. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is probably the perfect book for this moment in software, because it is basically about trying to survive inside a universe that is absurd, bureaucratic, overconfident, badly documented, and somehow still convinced it is operating according to a plan. Douglas Adams understood that sometimes the systems around you are not secretly intelligent, they are just stupid at a scale too large for the human brain to process. So keep that in mind the next time you're in a 2-hour Teams meeting. And, while all the previous roles are going through a rough patch at the moment, I fear that the much-praised senior software developer has entered the most confusing phase of all. But before looking at its future in more detail, please let me tell you a few words about today's sponsor. Despite the apparent uncertainty in the industry, one thing I'm sure of is that people who actually know how to code will have a competitive edge in the AI world. And Scrimba can help you do just that through a unique code learning platform that offers an interactive way to learn by doing, and where the video and the IDE are fused into one seamless experience. A big chunk of their learning material is free, and with a pro plan, you unlock all paths, courses, challenges, certificates, and their Discord community with over 80,000 devs. Use the link below to save an extra 20%. Back to the video, senior software developers are currently majorly screwed on our scale. Sure, they are the only ones still enjoying the perks of being employed, but let's be honest, it's not that fun to hear all your managers and stakeholders share their cloud-backed technical opinions while looking at you, like you are the only reason they can't reach that much desired 10x productivity. I mentioned in a previous video that the senior software developers are de-skilling at an alarming rate. The internet is filled with stories of developers who used to be sharp, technical, and painfully opinionated, but who now start every feature by opening Cursor and asking an LLM to explain the codebase they themselves wrote a few months ago. And this brings us to the last role we'll discuss in this video, the non-technical vibe coder. This gets a unicorn on our screw scale because it is the perfect employee. The non-technical vibe coder doesn't ask questions because he has no idea what he is talking about, he has no opinions because he has no knowledge to back them up with, but somehow manages to output more than 3 burned out senior developers combined. Vibe coders are the rock stars of the AI era, but don't worry, after the hype passes and Elon, Dario and Sam make their billions with their public IPOs, it'll still be the same old boring software developers which will end up cleaning the mess through unpaid overtime. If you like this video, you should consider joining our community where I'm posting more dedicated weekly content. Please don't forget to smash all the buttons, and until next time, thank you for watching.